Hello, hello, Hayley. Welcome to the Mentally a Badass podcast. I'm so happy to have you today.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm so glad that you are here because honestly, when you reached out to me and I read your story, I was like, "Oh, it's so like it's interesting topic I want to talk about. Of course, I of course don't want you to have a didn't want you to have a stroke when you were 20, but 'cause I've never heard of that before. So, I'm excited to get into that as well as talking about PTSD because I feel like that topic is also very important. So, in every Mentally About Us episode, we first like to get deep into your past, to get to know you as a person. So, let's jump back. Let's talk about your life growing up, your childhood, because I know you mentioned in your story that you've have some childhood trauma. So, let's get into that first.
So I was raised by a single mom, and we moved around quite a bit in the little town that we lived in. So we lived in a town that's real rural, and the poverty is very big there, like, and especially being raised by a single mom. My dad wasn't in the picture. I met him a few times. By the age of 5, I think I met him twice, and I didn't really know him that well. So growing up with her, she did her best, but there was a lot, like she worked a lot, and there was a lot of times I was just felt very alone, but it wasn't her fault. It impacted me a lot because I wasn't really close with her family or really close with my dad's family because they lived far away. They lived in Tennessee, which was like 9 hours from where we were at. So
Mm-hmm.
that impacted me a lot. I had panic attacks started when I was 8 years old.
Wow.
I had a fear of dying. Like, I don't know what exactly caused it. I think it was where I was alone a lot. And I felt
Mm-hmm.
so alone inside. Like, it was really hard to express that when you're 8 years old and you don't know what's going on. You just like have these thoughts like, I'm scared I'm gonna die. Like, I was just scared all the time of
Mm-hmm.
like dying. I would be afraid to like get in water. I was afraid that I was going to choke on like food and die. Like I don't know what caused it, but it was pretty traumatic. It lasted until like my teenage years. Like I had really bad like anxiety about like that for some reason.
Yeah, I definitely know the experience of having a panic attack when you truly believe that it's like your time to go.
Mm,
When I had my first panic attack, I didn't have a panic attack when I was that young. I've had like anxiety and suffered from that and such, but my first panic attack, it was interesting. I had it like waking up. Like I woke up into a panic attack
mhm,
and I like couldn't see, like my vision was just like not there, and like I was like about to pass out and I was so dizzy, and like I was all alone too at that time. And it's like the worst feeling. And if you can describe a panic attack versus an anxiety attack, what would you say? Because I truly believe those are two completely different things in my opinion.
So a panic attack for me, so anxiety kind of builds. Like I think an anxiety
Mm-hmm.
attack will build. Like you'll feel like anxious and it'll start to come on. A panic attack can come out of nowhere. Like when I have panic attacks, I'll just start having tingling in my chest and I'm like, okay, this is the end. Like you said, like I'm thinking like this is
This is the
this is
end.
and then I'm like, oh, okay, I might have just been freaking out there for a second, like looking around. But that's what it feels like to me. I think an anxiety attack is built. Like you can feel like
Mm-hmm.
before, but I think a panic attack sometimes will just come on like immediately and you'll just have like a physical symptom and you'll think like, okay, I'm dying.
Yeah. When you had your panic attacks, like what would you do like what would you do to come like back from that? Because you know you go into like a state of mind where you feel like you're dying. Like, do you have like any coping strategies now?
So thankfully, I take medication now. I'm on Zoloft but it doesn't help
Mm-hmm.
significantly. Thankfully, I have a great therapist. I think matching with a therapist that is a real, like that you click with, that is a big thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
the relationship between you and your therapist, the rapport and everything is a big thing. She's helped me a lot
Mm-hmm.
and working through some of the trauma. I make art and that brings me more emotional regulate helps me regulate emotionally more than anything else has is creating art.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have
So what kind of
like a
art do you do?
I do all kinds. I paint with gouache. I'm just started classes for animation because I'm learning how to make like just like little animations that I'm going to post on YouTube. I do like digital art. I've learned how to do that. Within the 2 years that I found it, it's given me like so much drive and passion. Like it's helped me so much.
So you said that you do painting and digital and animation.
Mhm.
That's like awesome. Like I honestly I wish I can draw. I literally just got an iPad, so like I'll just like color in between like tasks I do, and I'm like, but I would really love if I can like actually draw and such. But like, okay, so like, what kind of things do you draw?
So recently I'm into like drawing animals. Like when I first started, I was just drawing anything I could like figure out how to draw. Like I started online tutorials, like watching on YouTube. I think the first like thing I made was like an apple because they had like a tutorial on how to get
Mm.
like colored pencils and make an apple. And I was like, I absolutely love this. After I got done, there's like a state called the flow state. I don't know if you like know what I'm talking about, but it's where like nothing else exists. Time doesn't exist. You're just there. And that's one of my favorite
Mm-hmm.
parts about art. It's like time stops and it's just me and my art. And it like connects me back to myself. And I believe that's why it's helped me so much with like my mental health because I struggled
Mm-hmm.
also with disassociation. So like where your mind just kind of like pulls you out for a second. That was how mainly when I was a kid I coped with all of my anxiety. There's a lot of stuff that I don't recall that happened, like that my friend I grew up with this one girl and the same one I was telling you about, she lives in Florida. And she'll tell me things and she'll be like, "Do you remember when that bad thing happened to you?" And I'm like, "No, I have no I don't recall that. Like, what are you talking about?" She's like, "Dude, you were there." And I was like, "I don't recall that." But yeah, like it's
That's
helped me
so
come back to my
crazy.
body.
Yeah, I also like talking about dissociation because I feel like some people may not fully understand what it means or how it is to be like in it. So when you said that it takes you out, is there like a physical way you could explain that people can kind of like use as I guess like metaphor or like a way of comparison of it?
Think it kind of feels like when you watch a movie and you kind of like it goes out for a second and then you come back to. That's how it
Mm-hmm.
feels for me. Like I sometimes it'll
Mm.
start by my arms will look funny at first, kind of like derealization
Mm-hmm.
first, and then it just completely like I go away. Like I when I was working at a restaurant, they were like, "Are you okay?" Like I was doing my job fine. I was counting change, which is kind of scary, and I wasn't there, but I counted all the
Mm.
change correctly. I was doing my job, but I wouldn't recall the day at all. My mind was just kind of like taking me away. You're like in automatic mode, like kind of like a robot. Like you know, how
Mm-hmm.
you go through the motions. Like I could count change and everything, but I wouldn't recall the day at all. And then sometimes, occasionally, a
Mm-hmm.
coworker would be like, "Are you okay?" and snap me out of it. It was so bad when I was a kid in second grade that the teacher couldn't snap me out of it and they thought it was a seizure. So I had to go and get all this testing done just for them to tell my mom, like, hey, like, it's not like a physical issue. It's definitely probably like a mental health issue. Yeah, it was kind
Mm-hmm.
of scary at like 7 to be told, like, hey, like, you might be having seizures. It was scary.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, that's definitely not fun. I think that was a good way of like you explaining that. I feel like the average person can probably understand because you mentioned autopilot, can probably understand like, if they're driving home from work and they're taking the same route. I hear people
Yes.
where they're like, I don't remember driving. It's like all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're
Yeah.
like home.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think that it is. I've said that too. Like I've walked home when I worked at a different place and I would walk and I would come home and I'd be like, I'm home." Like I feel the same way. Honestly, if you want to watch a show, this sounds really weird. That it really kind of like not the scary part, but have you ever seen School Spirit? The last season, the girl was going in and out and I feel like
Mm.
that's what it feels like to just go out and then come back to. Like that's the only thing on media that I've seen that like I feel like I relate to it with like the taken away from your mind part.
Yeah, I don't know that show you're referring to, but I'm like thinking of like there's this on TikTok there's like certain sounds like audios
Yeah.
and I think there's one where it's like in background audio and they're kind of like trying to like the person who's in the TikTok is like staring and then like they're trying to like snap you out of like hello, like are you paying attention? Like I think that's
Yes,
like a
I
good
know what
way.
yeah, sorry,
Yeah, yeah, like what audio
yeah,
I'm thinking of?
yeah,
Yeah.
I see that and I'm like, yeah, that's very much because like it's sometimes it's hard to snap someone out of it. Like there are people who have there's like disassociation disorders too, where it ends up
Mm.
splitting their personality into different like things. I don't have that, but I did know a girl that had it when I was growing up and it was pretty traumatic to see because she would have like a part of her personality and then a different like personality and wouldn't know in between what was going on. It was really crazy to watch. I felt so bad for her.
I feel like it's like so scary and could be kind of like unsafe because I mean, I've experienced like dissociating myself and I feel like it would be horrifying to happen if you're like doing something safety critical.
Yes.
And then it's like your brain is like, don't associate, like pay it, like, like sometimes that'll kind of like happen to me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's kind of scary. I don't know if it's like a dissociation or just like losing focus, but like you can kind of like feel your brain kind of
Yes.
like wandering.
Mhm.
like losing, like oh, it's like yeah. I don't know. I keep saying like a million times. I'm so like
That's probably
I'm
mine
just
too.
like
It is, especially when you go on a word that you say all the time and you get on here and you're like, yeah, and then it just keeps coming out and you're like, oh, why? Why?
oh
I'd
my
get that.
god. I will post like some clips on YouTube, like teasers and such. And one person commented, they were like, oh, if you say one more time, like I just like exited out of it because I couldn't take your lines.
People are so mean.
I mean, it's whatever. I don't really care. It is
Yeah.
what it is on the internet. But there was even in like watching the Kardashians, Courtney even said like that she tells the editors that they have to edit out all her likes.
That's great.
Like she means like minimize it because there are times where she does say it, but she actually apparently she does it I guess a lot. So she's like, I don't want to sound like I'm like an idiot, like like
Yeah.
as I'm sounding like I don't know. But I know I'm kind of getting a little off topic right now. I want to get into let's talk about your stroke at the age of 20, which is pretty young. So
Yes.
let's get into that. What happened?
So to this day, we're not exactly sure, but what happened a few days before this, I had been drinking and stuff like that, and we're wondering if maybe when I was drinking, like something happened. Because typically
Mm-hmm.
the stroke that I had is caused by a neck injury, like people in cars.
Interesting.
Now, the doctor here told me that sometimes it'll be from people, like younger people, actually just like twisting their head around to look at something, and they're
Ooh.
because I had an artery that was snapped. Yeah, I had a vertebral artery dissection that clotted and then caused the stroke. But the weird part about this is they still to this day we have no idea why the artery tore because I didn't have any sudden like injuries, not that I can recall, even while I had been drinking. I'm not sure if, like, something had happened, like, I fell, but this was, like, 2 days before the stroke, and that's why I'm like, "Maybe something happened, I don't remember it." But I
Mm-hmm.
remember I was living at this apartment, and me and my friend at the time, we lived, like, right beside each other. Like, so I went over to her apartment because we had some friends over there, and I remember standing up and my eyes went black, and this has happened to me before because I have this
Mm-hmm.
thing and it's called vasovagal syncope. Basically, it's a fancy word for like fainting, but like sometimes my eyes will go black when I stand up or sit down. Like it's just a change of blood
Mm-hmm.
pressure. So I
Mm-hmm.
did that and I sat back down, and normally my vision comes back, but this time my vision didn't come back. And it looked like, have you ever seen like the roll of films, like the old ones that tear up on the screen? That's what it looked like when my vision started to come back. Like it was like, and when it
Yeah.
come back, my left side was numb. And everyone else
Mm-hmm.
is freaking out. I'm freaking out, of course, because I like half of my body is numb. And your tongue, your whole tongue goes numb.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I don't know why, but I guess because maybe it doesn't have separate nerves or whatever. So they call the ambulance, and the ambulance takes me in. And for some reason, I regain function right here, but my vision's not back. And where I live
Mm-hmm.
at, the hospital is very bad. Like the hospital, the medical care here, you have to travel. Yeah, you have to travel up to like near Pittsburgh to get some good medical care here. So when I
Mm-hmm.
went, they're like, well, maybe you're having a migraine. And I'm like, okay, well, my vision isn't back. And like, I explained
Mm-hmm.
what happened. It went on for a week. I would call the ambulance and they would come get me. And the ambulance actually told me they were mad that I kept calling because they thought that I was like faking it. And I had
Mm.
a blood clot in my brain at this time, which no one knew because no one was taking it seriously. And because it was still
Oh my
clotted.
God.
So they ended up finding it. The nurse at the hospital apologized to me, and the doctor came in and apologized and said, well, we got to ship you out to the other hospital because you've had a stroke. And I'm like 20 years old, and I'm just finally happy to know what was wrong because it was so
Mm-hmm.
scary because it would I was having many strokes after my big one. So I would have like, I would go to sit a certain way, and my whole body on this side would go numb, and my vision wouldn't come back. It didn't come back. They even told me because I had a mental health record, they were like, you might be having anxiety. Like, we think you're having anxiety. And I'm like, no, something's really wrong. Yeah. And as a woman, I feel like this is probably like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's like they just
Oh
did
yeah, I mean
something.
I've been told that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
the whole oh it's anxiety.
Yeah, and you're like, "I know something's wrong," and they're like, "Oh, maybe you should just get some rest." And I'm like, I know there's something wrong." And I was trying to tell them, I'm like, "I can't see, like, if I'm having anxiety, like, it's been a week." But yeah, they apologized to me. They had to ship me to a different hospital. And then when I got there, they told me, they're like, "Hey, yeah, your artery tore into a flap." And then they're like, "You had a stroke." And then I was terrified from that moment on, like, terrified of my body, like, just terrified. It was very scary experience, and they only kept me for, like, 3 days because the kinda stroke that I had was in my occipital lobe, which is, like, visual
Mhm.
processing and, like, direction.
Yeah.
That's why I still can't see on this side, I'm half blind over here.
Oh
But
my
yeah, it
gosh,
was
me
very scary.
too.
Really? Do you drive?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have a glaucoma in my right eye,
Mhm.
but I can legally drive. Yeah. Why you can't
They
legally drive?
won't let me like, I had met with a doctor here, and they're like, "You can't ever drive." And I was like, "What?" And the lady said, "No, no, you're not gonna
Wait,
ever drive." And I'm like,
wait, you have it on one eye, right?
"Yeah, it's just over here." And they told me here so I was told I'd have to go, like I said, out of state from here to go get my eye, like, where I could see, because 'cause I'm 25 and I can't drive still, and it's been, like but the lady wasn't very nice about it, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I cried so hard. I cried so hard in that office because like, she crushed everything. Yeah, I don't know.
But that's interesting. Like because I have glaucoma in my right eye, I'm like 90% mostly black. I still have like I can still feel motion,
Mhm.
but overall, like if I close my left eye, I can't function. But like that's weird. So you said one eye you can't see, but
Yeah,
you can't
it's like over
drive.
yeah, they told me they were like, "No, you can." I was like, "Well, is there not anything we can do?" And she was like, "No,
Was
there's
this an eye
nothing."
doctor?
It
Was there
was
an eye doctor that said this?
it was a neuro-ophthalmologist, but she did a field of vision test, and she said that that told her, because she said, "Out of my eyes," she said, "I have, like if you had a circle, you'd have, like, this much of your this would be my vision, this would be my eye." So the vision cuts, like, here. So I don't that's what she said. I think I need a second opinion. Even the nurses that came in while I was crying, they're like, "We work here, but we think you should go get a second opinion." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And you can bring up my case too. I've never
Okay.
been told that I can't drive. And I've always had eye problems, like even since birth. Like I was born with a cataract, and so they
Mhm.
had to take out my human lens. So I guess technically I had vision, it's just not really functional vision.
Mhm.
And so when I took my driving test, naturally I would fail the right eye. But
Mhm.
what happened was the DMV just said, just give us a note from your doctor. Your doctor's saying that your doctor is approving. So basically, my eye doctor had to approve that, okay, she's okay to drive based off, I guess, my circumstance. But they never, like, I don't know, like even like my eye doctor knows they all know I drive.
Mhm.
So, and none of them have said like, "Oh no, you can't." So, I don't know. I don't know if it's like, is this like a law or is this just something a doctor's just said?
She said that, and she was like, "Safety-wise," and then she was like, "You haven't been driving, have you?" And I said, "No, I listened to them when they told me not to." I was like, "But another doctor told me that he thought that I could drive." It was another eye doctor here where I'm at, and he was like, "I think
Mm-hmm.
you could drive fine." He's like, "I think you could that's what the
Yeah.
mirrors are for." He said, "That's what you're like for."
Exactly.
Yeah. So I
Yes,
don't
yes.
know.
Yeah, I think this person doesn't know what they're talking about because a majority of people don't realize that you only really need one eye to function.
Yes.
I mean, of course, some people, obviously, people who have two are gonna obviously live through life a little bit
Yeah.
easier than us because would struggle peripheral vision like I do. But yeah, with that guy I told you, oh my gosh, the mirrors, yes, like that's what it's for. Like even if like let's say you can't see on the right, like your left eye can still pick up
Mhm.
the mirror. So you can yeah, exactly. So that person's right. So I don't know this doctor because there's a lot of people who don't understand us and
Mhm.
doesn't know how it feels to just have one eye that you can't see, and they just automatically think, oh well, if you don't have two eyes, then you can't drive. It's like, okay, well, you need one kidney, like you know what I mean?
That's what
Like
I'm saying,
it's like
yeah.
it's like it's kind of like that. Like you only need one eye to function. Two eyes to make your life easier. But the thing
Mhm.
is your brain adjusts.
Mhm.
So if one eye is not properly working, your brain teaches itself to focus on using the left eye. I don't know, maybe sit right or left for you.
Yeah, it's my left eye that's bad over here.
Oh yeah, mine's my right. Okay, yeah. So your brain will be focusing on your right eye.
Mhm.
So the brain just naturally copes and adjusts to it. So yeah, this I mean, I'm not a doctor, but like, I don't know. Get a second opinion. Go to an eye doctor. You can mention me if you
Yeah,
want. Like,
thank you, thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
everyone
that's
I've told is
crazy.
like that. They're like, "You need a second opinion." They're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yes, yes, cuz yeah, that's crazy. And and honestly like I don't know. I think I did see other people saying too about, I think on TikTok or whatever, I think someone, oh, I think I remember, I forgot what the video was, but someone was saying that, oh, well, actually, I think what it was, like, money wise for me, since I'm pretty much self-employed, and since like times are tough, I do like food delivery and such. And so I think what this person was saying, or maybe it was like they couldn't pick up groceries or something like that. They basically said, I'm disabled, I can't drive. But then I remember them saying that they're blind in one eye. And so they were saying they're blind in one eye, they're disabled, they can't drive. And then in my head, reading that, I was like, I'm blind in one eye and I can still function. Like, and I'm driving all the time. And I don't think I said anything because I didn't want to like go into a whole like I think it was I think it was Facebook. I don't want to go into like a whole deep like rabbit hole and because I don't know. Everyone has their own medical problems. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I'm not gonna assume that my situation's the same as everybody. 'Cause that's not right. But maybe that person's in the same position as you. Maybe their doctor said no, you can't drive because this one eye, and that's like kind of stinks that they're doing that because like I'm not in your body, so I can't say yes or no, obviously. But yeah, definitely get another opinion. Oh, there's something else I was gonna say. Oh, you know what's crazy is that I have like the one eye, right?
Hmm.
And yet most people get into accidents. People get into accidents with two eyes, but I don't
Yes.
with one eye. Isn't that
Yes.
crazy?
Yes. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I got in like one accident, but I was 19. I was 18. I was 18 when I got into this accident, but it was it had nothing to do with my eye. It was more of just me being like not confident and not judging when I switched my lanes. So it was something super, small like that. But I have pretty good like reactions
Hmm.
where there's of course people like from this side would try to hit me or this and that and I would have really good reactions and so I would, obviously avoid an accident. And you know what it is? It's because I still have, I guess, my the emotion motions. So I can still sense on the right. So maybe that's why. But yeah, no. So I think in my head I'm like, people are getting to accidents with two eyes, and I'm out here just like living my life with one eye. Like, anyway, I went completely off on a tangent here.
So much though, you kind of gave me hope. You're the first person I've ever talked to that had like a similar issue,
Really?
and yeah, and I was so like devastated about this, and to talk to you is like made me feel so much better about that. Thank you.
Well, I hope. I mean, technically we have slightly different situations considering we have different medical, but I mean, like I'm pretty much like blind on this side too. How do you navigate medical? Rebuild trust in it. Did you rebuild trust in your body?
Started to, like I said, I it took me a few years. So, like a year after the stroke, I started having really bad panic attacks where I would think my arms were going numb. Those were like the
Mm-hmm.
worst panic attacks I think I've ever had because I would have to go to the hospital and then I would go there and they'd be like, okay, it's a panic attack. It would be like several nights a week. It even interfered with my jobs that I would have because if the lights were
Mm-hmm.
funny, like if the lights were like, the doctor lights fluorescent, I think is the word
Mm-hmm.
like, with those
Yeah.
fluorescent lights, they would trigger me because I would think about the time I had a stroke and I was in the hospital, and it would, like, trigger them. Even
Mm-hmm.
going into, like, Walmart was really hard. Like, I would start to freak out. I would start to think my arms were going numb. It was terrifying. Yeah, it was very scary.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually I had to take like really serious anxiety medicine, like the ones that like will knock you out like this. I had to take Ativan for like it was like a year. I had to take it like every single day. But then when I started therapy, less and less after I started working through it and I had someone like that I trusted to talk to, it started to lessen and lessen and then I didn't need the medicine anymore. Now occasionally I do take the medicine as needed, but I don't take it like on a regular day-to-day basis, like that kind of medicine. I take Zoloft every day. They said it helps with depression. Apparently I was depressed. I didn't know I was depressed either. So that's a thing. Like I just thought like when I
I
started
don't know
taking
why I
it,
laughed at that. I
no,
don't
you're
know
fine.
why I chuckled at that.
No, no, you're fine. Because I'm the same way. I'm like, what was wrong? Was I depressed for years and no one told me? Like I took it and then I'm like, is this how people feel every day? Like, wow. Like I was like shocked at how well I felt.
Yeah, yeah, no. I'm on medication myself too, and like I definitely noticed like a complete difference in, my like outlook, just feelings and intensity of feelings, and but the whole like I mean. I feel like with depression, I don't know if this is bad for me to say, but I kind of like assume we're like just all depressed deep down.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I was like, is this bad for me to say? But like, I think like even if people are lucky enough to not have like it like say chemically or just genetically or whatever, I feel like it's just lately like I mean, life has just been hard for everybody,
Oh yeah,
you
especially with everything.
know? Right. Like our world's on fire right now.
Yes.
So honestly, like I just feel that just despite of people's personal, problems, it's stressful for everybody. And come on, have you seen those? I mean, I was gonna say, have you seen those gas prices? But you say you don't drive. But
I see people on Facebook talking about the gas prices here every day. They're like, we spent 4.1 million with since the gas prices have went up just in the state that I live in, and I'm like, wow, that's maybe
gas
I'm glad
prices
that
are.
I walk.
I mean, I guess right now, I guess it's good that you're not driving. But like, yeah, no, gas prices are crazy right now. I've never seen so high in my lifetime. I mean, I live in Florida, and gas prices is like 450 or 425, which
Oh
is
my goodness.
crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like
I don't even think it's
for
that much here.
Florida.
Wow.
Florida's usually pretty good when it comes to things being like cheaper than the rest of the nation. But I can't even imagine what California is right now. I wouldn't be shocked if it's like $8. Like,
Yeah, California is everything is super expensive there. Like I know
hmm
even they said a gallon of milk is like super expensive versus here. Like when I worked in the service industry, they were like this lady, she came in, she was like, it was $8 for some milk. And I was like, wow, I think I would
what?
just bring no milk. I was like, I can't believe that. But that's what she
Just
said. It was
buy
an
a
older
cow.
yeah, I was like, at this point, I would just not drink the milk.
Yeah, I would just buy a cow at this point. That's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, then don't even get me on going on eggs. And
yeah.
and
Yes,
and just like,
yes.
oh my God, there's these like tortilla chips that I would get from I think Amazon grocery a lot, like around the pandemic time. And they were like $2 like tortilla chips, which is like a great deal, right? And
Yes.
so I haven't ordered them since around that time frame. And lately I've been kind of doing Amazon grocery. I kind of like since groceries are so expensive, I'm always ordering from different places and doing going to different places to try to like yeah, anyway, so I saw those tortilla chips, the same exact ones, and they were like their whole thing was on the thing it would say only $2. That's kind of like their, I guess, branding or whatever. Like that's what they're
Mhm.
known for. And now it says only $2.99. Literally, I'm looking at these chips and I'm like, that's hilarious. Like even these $2 chips that have pride in keeping their chips like really affordable. It's like only $2.99.
The fact that they put
Now
that
I've
on
got
there too is wild.
like God, it's crazy. Like I wonder if it's Arizona tea, like the 99 cents one. Are they still 99 cents?
Think they
I think it's
are.
125 now.
It might be
I think.
125. They because the company guy was on like one of those shows and he was like, "I will never make it over this. I want my tea to be affordable or something." But I can imagine
Yeah.
that it probably did go up because almost everything did. And that's crazy about those chips. I worked where like over a pickup, so I was like where I would pick groceries for people and the insane prices on groceries went up. Like you could see it as soon as like within a month's time it was up back in January. It was
Yeah.
the eggs were like $26 for like what? Like I think there was like 60 eggs and it was like 26, $30.
What?
Yeah, and I
Oh
was
my
like
God.
I was like people would come up to me and they'd be like, "Look at the price on this," and I'd be like, "I'm so sorry. Like there's nothing I can like I have no control of that. I'm sorry."
That's
Service
crazy. Yeah.
industry is not for the weak of heart. Not at all.
And then meat is so expensive now.
Yes.
Oh my
Hamburgers, like,
God.
even if you try we tried to buy steak for, like, a birthday party we was having, and it was, like, $25 for, like, 2 steaks. I was like, "Wow."
I know. It's like I suppose just go to a restaurant at this point. Go to
It'd be
like
ch yeah.
probably cheaper to go to Chili's or something like that, or
Yes.
TGI Friday.
The Outback here.
Just go to
Yeah.
Outback. It's cheaper going to Outback. At least you get
Yeah.
your steak cooked for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's insane. Here,
I was in the process of applying for college when I had my stroke because I took, like, a year off. I ended up going back and, like well, starting again, it's a hot long thing, but I ended up actually getting to start in October of that year. So I had my stroke in May of
hmm
2020. during the
Mm-hmm.
height of, like, the pandemic, which was even awful.
That good timing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know, my body was like, "Hey, you wanna be alone in the hospital?" Like, they wouldn't even let me use their phone, they held their phone up to me, like, they had, like, a cordless phone and, like, held it up to me, and they're like, "You can talk to your mom, but from the cordless phone, I'll hold it," and I'm like, "Yay, yay." So, yeah, and then at work, actually, I lost my job 2 weeks before my stroke because I was in, like, this job training program, so it only went on for so long. It was, like, for at-risk youth. It's called Youth Build. It was an amazing program. It,
Mm-hmm.
like, saved my life. They teach, like, marketable job skills, and it was through AmeriCorps, so I got, like, a grant money to go to school. But
Mm-hmm.
they were like, "Hey, we've had you in this program longer than we normally do, so we're gonna, like, cut you loose," like, 2 weeks before my stroke. They're like, "Hey, we gotta cut you loose." And I'm like, "Okay." So then I had to go apply for a job, and I got one. The stroke was in May, and I got another job in July. So, not too long after, and then I was, like, heat sensitive, which made it so bad because it was summertime here, and I was, like, struggling, like, doing the job because it was so hot, and I was so heat sensitive from my stroke. I don't know if that was, like, a symptom. They never told me. I was just, like, sensitive to heat after that point,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a struggle.
I wonder if like your stroke was triggered by stress because it sounds like a lot happened right before.
Yeah, that's what I wondered too because I
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like and I was in a really bad relationship at the time. I picked the worst men at that time, and the guy that I was with, like, I was trying to chase him, like, it was one of those things where, like, he would come around a little bit and, like, acted like he liked me, and then, like, like, you felt like you were chasing this guy, like, he didn't wanna be home, he wanted to be all the time, like, with his friends, and, like, I was so stressed out about this, I don't know why, but I was, like, so depressed. I felt really bad about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, I can't even believe at this time, like, as my 25-year-old self looking back, I'm like, I could never. I'm like, "Okay, a man don't want me, okay." Like, but then I was, like, young and yeah, you know?
I mean, we've all been, and I mean, you did listen to that episode that I put out, remember? The one where, yeah, yeah, it was called, what was it called? The Why Do We Attract? I forgot. Oh my God, like I literally just like, it's my episode. I can't remember what I even named it. That's crazy. I mean, at least it's not like a songwriting. Yeah, it was Why You Keep Attracting Emotionally Unavailable People.
Yes,
So
yes,
I
I
kind of
can
wonder if like, did that attract to you?
Yes, yes, I felt like well, and it wasn't until I started healing that, like, all my relationships got better, so once I started, like, having more, like, in myself, then I stopped, like, attracting people, or I stopped, like they stopped liking me because 'cause they're like, "Okay, well, now she's got self-worth." So, I'm not, like, the type of men that they're like, "We're not going after her now, we can't crush her emotionally." So, that's what I think, I don't know.
No, yeah, I mean, I feel like people can sense things and prey on people, and they feel that they can dominate.
Yes.
Once they sense that you're healing and doing better, they're like, okay, well, I'm not dominant in this relationship anymore. Let me just not be interested. And it's sad, and that's kind of like a narcissistic trait too.
Yes. Yeah, they prey on weakness because then they know that they can, like,
Hmm.
like you said, overpower you kind of, like it's easier to control someone or oppress someone who, like, you already have control over, like or you can crush them
Yeah.
emotionally, or they have vulnerabilities. Yeah, I've been there so many
Hmm.
times. I'm so glad to be healed.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, question for you. Your belief on healing, do you believe that it's you're healed fully complete, or do you believe healing is an ongoing process?
Okay, I believe it is an ongoing process. So I believe one day I might be more healed than the other. So like
Mm-hmm.
today I might feel great and tomorrow I might feel a little bit backtracked from that. But that doesn't take it cuz what are they that's saying like healing is not linear.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying it right.
No,
But
you're
like
saying it right.
basically one day I can be better and then the next I'll feel like a little but that doesn't take away from the healing that I've already done. And I know that I've
Mm-hmm.
healed because in situations I don't react the same way I did before. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
handling it the way I would have handled 20-year-old Hayley would have handled it like 25-year-old today handles it. Like it's very different. And I can tell that even the way that like I go into situations, like I used to be very hot-headed before my stroke. I don't know. I was more feisty, my friends say. They're like, "You completely changed after your stroke." I'm really curious, like if it changed my personality. Like that's something I want to study so bad, like if strokes, because they say brain
Mm-hmm.
injuries can. So like, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's a linear process. Like you never know day to day, it can look different. And healing, like versus on your energy levels too. Like if you're having like a low energy day, your healing might look different than a high energy day. That's just what I believe. I believe it's up and down. It's a continuous process.
Yeah, well, 100%. And it's interesting what you're saying about like personality changes, and I'm very intrigued by that too.
Yeah.
Have like anyone have they like did like an MRI of your brain, or can like, I guess like really that's the only way you can really understand that is an
Yes.
MRI.
That's what
I'm
I mean,
scared
I've
to have
had
an MRI on my
MRIs.
brain.
I've had a few, and they're very, like, lengthy processes. Like, I had one of my whole
Oh, I'm
spinal cord,
sure.
because I was born with spina bifida too, which is another, like, it's a congenital defect, some type of thing, but it caused my spine, so they had to do
Mm-hmm.
a whole MRI, 2 hours long, and I had to take anxiety medicine before I went in because it's this big loud machine and it, like, sucks you in, and it's terrifying, it's terrifying. But I am very curious about, like, personality changes. My best friend told me, she was like, "Yeah, you were way more, like, you were less scared of life," which makes sense. Like I felt invincible. I was like 19, 20 years old. Like I didn't feel like I could die. And once I was reminded that I could die, it was
Mm-hmm.
terrifying. Like cuz you don't feel like you feel like you're invincible at that age. You're like I can take on the
Oh,
Hulk.
100%.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know if that was the personality change or it was me aging, like, aging out of, like, being that young, and I don't know, but she's like, "You changed a lot." Like, not in a bad way, but she said, "You're more scared." She said, "You're not as feisty anymore." She said, "You said, like, you'd do anything if someone come up against you." And she's like, "Now you're just like, 'No, I'm not.'" And I'm like, "Yeah, it calmed me down a lot too."
Yeah, and so when did you start fearing more and going from, feeling invincible to being a little more scared? Because the reason I asked that is that our frontal lobe is fully formed by the age of 25. And I noticed I got more antsy about things once I turned 25.
It was honestly, I started being more fearful right after, like, when I was in the hospital. Once I realized that I had had a
Hmm.
stroke, it was like a wake up call that, like, I have had a stroke. Like, that's insane. Like, I started getting so scared how my mind coped after I got home. So I didn't have any panic attacks right after the stroke. My brain couldn't, like, accept that it had happened. Like, it knew that it happened,
Hmm.
but my brain threw myself into, like, they told me I had to be on a low sodium diet, so my brain used that to kinda control me. Like, I would have to look at food labels, they'd have to be under a certain amount, like, of sodium, or I wouldn't eat
Hmm.
it. Like, people would go out to eat and they'd be like, "Are you coming?" I'll be like, "I'm coming, but I can't eat." And they're like, "Well, one time won't hurt you." And I'm like, and then, you get the crazy questions, like, when something like that happens to you, they're like, "So what will it do to you if you eat it?" And I'm like, "I don't know, I'm just not supposed to eat it." Like, it raises your
Hmm.
blood pressure, I guess. But for 6 months, I lived like that, and I was literally, like, just scared to eat, like, foo it was terrifying. I think it developed into some type of eating, like, issues at that time. That's what I believe. I was never diagnosed during that time about that, but to me, that's what it felt like, that it was some type of, like, anxiety maybe induced disorder.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Do you still struggle with I guess, habits, not bad eating. I'm wording, not trying to word this properly. Because we weren't saying the words eating disorder, but I get what you're saying when it comes to developing, I guess, not the best relationship with food. Is
Yeah,
that fair to
yeah.
say?
Yeah, that's fair because I was, like, eating tilapia. I can never even look at another tilapia because it was low in sodium. So if you ever need to eat, like, low in sodium, the frozen tilapia is where it's at. It's like 40
Uh-huh.
milligrams of low sodium. I can't even look at fish anymore. They're like, "Do you wanna come out to eat with us at this" No. No, I'm good. I'm fine. I don't need no fish. But, yeah, think it was a disorder. It still affects me. Like, I still
Uh-huh.
when I went to the doctor, they told me my cholesterol was high, and I was like, "Okay," so then I got
Mm-hmm.
scared to eat foods that were cholesterol inducing. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
I get scared to eat foods, like, I'm scared, like, it's so funny, but it's like cheese, like, because cheese is really bad for your body in large amounts. So, like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, I'm good." Maybe it was me that clogged my artery, and then I start freaking out. So, yeah, occasionally it does. Occasionally I'll get times where I'm, like, scared to eat because I don't wanna hurt my body, if that makes any sense. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
my mind's, like, not even comprehending, like, me not eating at all is probably worse for it than eating the cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's so weird, and I've talked to my therapist about it, and we've gotten into it, but not, like, too far into it. She was like, "I'm not exactly sure what it could be." Like, we're anxiety inducing because it doesn't have the same characteristics of other, like, eating disorders. Like, they normally have a criteria, and I don't fall under the criteria.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's something that needs to be like studied,
Yes.
like in-depth studying. I find that so, as like time goes on and we all like learn more and more about mental health, like I think, I'm trying to think of like my eating habits because at one point, like, I don't like I don't think my eating is like the same as yours, but I do get sometimes, like, I guess, like eating anxiety because, like, I guess like my stomach is just not as great. Like I feel like just like majority of America, our stomachs kind of suck.
Yes.
But okay, I don't like fear it, but I think it's like run the other way when I see the aisle of like all of the heavily processed foods.
Yes.
And like I just can't like I just like want to just gag if people have like Twinkies and such. I'm like, it's not food.
Yeah, I don't
Like
think
that
I haven't ate a
stuff.
Twinkie in years. I just
Oh
can't. I
my God.
tried and it just doesn't feel real. Have you ever opened a Twinkie and you look at it and you're like, it just
Yeah, when I
not
was a
feels real?
kid.
Yeah.
Probably when I was a
Yeah.
kid, yeah. But as an adult, like, yeah, no. And then also just like I guess like some of the highly priced cupcakes. Or how about like the Wonder Bread?
Oh
Wonder
yeah,
Bread?
and people buy so much of that. When I was like grocery shopping for people, they would buy so much of that, and I'm like, this is no way this is healthy. There's no way. But
Yeah. And yeah. I do another side of gig that I do. I literally am like on all the freaking apps. I do like the Walmart. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, I with my
yes, no, you
lifestyle,
got the
I
side
can't do.
hustles. No, I admire
Yeah,
it
you
because
got.
I'm like, I
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have a regular 9 to 5, so my income is like in multiple baskets. And when I'm like trying to be an actor in the industry, it's like you can't really have a 9 to 5. It's because I get hit with
no.
auditions randomly and you gotta jump when you gotta jump. That's kind of like my life. So that's why I have no choice but to do a bunch of side gigs. Anyway, so going back to the Walmart groceries, naturally I'm shopping for people and I try so hard. So hard. I hate this about myself. It's a flaw, which we all have flaws, so it should be, not like feeling ashamed of myself. I'm just like I was like I would never in my cart would never look like this.
Yes,
Like
I felt the
just
same way.
oh my God, but another thing too, and it's like I try so hard to like not judge, especially for me not being a parent.
Mhm.
And I can tell when this people that I'm like, shopping for have kids.
Mhm.
And it's like the cereals that they like, not Fruit Loops. Like, I mean, Fruit Loops is horrible for you too, but like, oh my God, like, just in that aisle and just, I'm like, this is just straight garbage. Ugh. Yeah. Anyway, I feel like I'm turning this into like I'm like oh, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but here I am on a podcast like talking shit about people I shop for. I'm human. I'm human. I think my point of what I'm saying is like it's not like it's a fear, but it's like a negative feeling that is triggered when I'm like seeing these things and I'm just like, oh my God. But it's sad because it's like it's the chemicals in these
And
foods that are making people want more and more and more. I mean, I'm guilty of like, eating bad here and there too, but like I don't go to the point where I feel like it's like a spectrum of like how bad you eat. I
mhm.
mean, if I had a lot of money, I would be at Whole Foods like all the time.
Yes.
Like I'm serious. That's another thing too is like when the groceries are so high in price, like
Mm.
I feel like it makes it harder on my grocery budget. So it's like, okay, well I I can't get my organic this because it's like an extra $3 and like I was noticing I'm making these choices. I'm like, I don't like this. But then I kind of think long term that like if I'm getting these foods that are horrible for you but cheaper, it's like hurting my health down the road, which can make it hard for me to like, if I have to hustle for work or do things like that, like I need to have, healthy, which is actually really interesting. I don't know, I'm getting crazy off topic, but when I've been on sets, right? And they have like like what do they call crafty or crafts whatever. And I mean, every set is different, but a lot of times I'm noticing like the chips that they buy is so horrible for you.
Mm.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I feel like that's what's screw with my mind. You know what I mean? But that's just me.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Like I mean, set wise, one set I'll be seeing they'll be having like Dorito chips. The other set was like we have salmon and like salads. I
So
guess it just depends
that's
on. I guess it
different.
just. I guess it just depends on budgets. I don't know how all that stuff happens in the background, but yeah, it's really interesting. What advice would you give someone who is in the same boat as you or I mean, right now you're like in your healing era. What about people who are not in
Yeah.
their healing era? Like what advice would you give them? Like what would you say to them?
So this is advice that I would want someone to tell me, but I would still be mad if I got this from them. It literally is gonna take time. Like, I know that sucks, but it's gonna take time. But what I just do is I do one day, literally one day, and sometimes it's moment to moment for me. Like, sometimes I'm struggling and I'm just making it to the next 10 minutes because I'm struggling really bad with anxiety. It takes time to heal, but you will get there. Like, if you keep with the process, like, you get what you put out is what I believe. Like, if you what you pour out,
Yeah.
if you try, that's when you get results. That's what I believe. I know it's probably bad, like, I don't know if that's good advice, but I would have someone would have told me that. I wish someone would tell you it's gonna take time, but you will feel alive again. Because I didn't feel
Hmm.
like I was living, and I felt like I was so drowned and defeated. I didn't think there was ever a moment that I would feel alive and life would feel beautiful again, but there is gonna be a moment, and if you hold on, you will see it, and I promise you that. Like, that's what I wish someone would have told me at that time.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I give that advice to people who are like going through hell or going through a really deep depression. I mean, I've been there. There was a big part of my life between 2019 to 2022 that I was just like in a horrible depression.
Mhm.
But at that point, like I like how you were saying before about healing not being linear. And I've started like my healing journey for mental health like when I was like maybe 17, 18. Right now I'm 30. So I've been through so many different phases and had moments where I'm like doing great, awesome, I'm stable, but then something happened, be triggered, and then it's like bound down again, and then but like I knew I got out of it. So like when I was in that 3 year period, I was like, okay, well, let's be logical here.
Mhm.
I've been through this before. I can gonna come out. Something's gonna happen. Good. And I was right. I was so right, and it did. And I got out of like it out of that hell. And yeah. So I think what you're saying is, they. I feel like that advice could apply to a lot of different things. I mean,
Yes.
time. They do say time heals, but it does take time to get to anything that's like super, great, and it can be applied to anything.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna kind of, for people who, I was gonna kind of compare, like, my acting journey. Like, for example, I started my acting journey a year ago. Started, like, acting classes, class, like, the first step. But I'm not gonna expect to be in a Marvel movie the next day.
Yes, that's
And
a
so,
perfect example, though. I like that example.
yeah. Yeah, and it's like knowing that. I mean, I knew when I was getting into it that I'm gonna be going most probably. I mean, honestly, like I was about to say I have to go through hell first, but which I have moments of it because yeah, it's like kind of stinks when you're auditioning a lot, you don't hear back, and this and that,
Mhm.
and and just building the craft and all that. It's honestly I've done so much in my life, and I would say acting was probably like the hardest thing to really, because you have to like train your brain for a lot of different things and such. But it's a process, and I'm not going to expect to win an Oscar tomorrow.
Mm.
And so just knowing that it takes time and just being patient with it. So like that's kind of how I wanted to apply it. What they would say is trust the process.
Yes, yes. That is what you gotta do because otherwise I would've just yeah, if I wouldn't have just kept going, I wouldn't have got to where I am today. I would've never experienced life again had I not
Mm-hmm.
fought to get here. So, time
Yeah.
is amazing sometimes. It did not feel like that, and I would've been mad if you told me that, like, when I was 20, if you would've said, "You'll get through it. It just takes the process." I would've been like, "What process? I want it now." Like
No, it's true. And the fact that you think of the advice differently now, like as you were saying before, like that shows that you've done your work, which is great. Which is
Yes.
awesome. Yeah. So let's briefly talk about your podcast called Recap with Hayley. So, what is it about? What can people expect?
So I started it, and when I started it, I wanted to show people that there was different lives and different paths, like for people, like different jobs, different careers. Like you don't have to follow the same 9 to 5. Like basically, I grew up in where I grew up. No one made videos, no one went to acting classes. I wanted to go when I was a kid, by the way, but I was in a rural town, and there was nothing there. Nothing there. So like all these dreams that I had were like things that people not around me did and I didn't see anybody else doing them. So then like I started branching out and reading books and watching podcasts and I would see people doing all these things that I wanted to do and it inspired me. So I'm like, okay, so I want to show that to other people. I want to interview this person doing a book. Like I interviewed this lady named Phoebe and she is amazing. And it was Phoebe, I think it was Trotman, and she wrote a book and she talks about having your dream life and she was so amazing exposing, and like I got to see a different side of life that way. I think by exposing even younger people to see things that like you don't have to follow the same brick and mortar like 9 to 5 thing. Like you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to do what your parents did. Like you can choose your own path. I think that's so powerful, and that's just what I wanted to give everybody else.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I like how you create a podcast like focusing on examples that you don't have to go the same route as like everybody. I like that. I like that you
I
found something
think
that
so.
inspired you and you want to provide that for other people as well. Okay. I asked this question to all my guests. If your healing journey had a theme song, what would it be?
I'm trying to think. What would it be? Oh, okay. So there's a song called, it's called the, what's it, Fight Song, but I can't remember who sings it, but it's like a pop song.
Fight song.
And I'm
Is it
like,
go
it says, yeah, this is my Take My Life
This is
Back
my
song.
fight
Yes,
song. Is it that it?
yes,
Okay, hold on. I
yes.
think
I just can't remember who sings it.
I'm like on Spotify right now because what I do is that I get these songs and I put it to a playlist. It's called the podcast after party.
That's
So it's curate.
awesome.
Yeah, so it's like curated by my guests and such, and then I put some song in there too. So okay, fight song. So is it? Let me see if it's this one.
Yes, I
Yeah.
can tell by the beat.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Rachel Clayton. Okay. I don't
Now,
know if I
now I
pronounced
have a
it
name,
correctly.
but I've heard that song and I'm like, that song is so me.
It's a good song. Yeah,
Yes.
100%. It's a good song. Let me go ahead and add it to the playlist. I do this like literally right now. Could I forget? Okay. Podcast after play. That's okay. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So, Haley, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and tell your story. I really appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.